Hi, everyone. Because I'm the moderator of this session, so I'll take the opportunity to introduce myself first. My name is David. I'm one of the partners at Mirana Ventures. We invest in Web3 funds and Web3 projects as well, and I'm predominantly based in Singapore. So very happy to have with us today a pretty amazing panelists. We'll let them introduce themselves, starting with Edison, before we dive into some of the questions we have this afternoon.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Edison. I am from BaseApp. So I think you might be wondering why is there I think just now on the screen there's BaseApp and Suberra. So we are basically payment company. We have two products, one for payment acceptance and one for basically a Web3 bank. So this Web3 bank is a consumer app that allows you to spend your stablecoin directly from your non-custody wallet. So it's something as simple as this, right? So it has a Visa card that you can basically use it to spend anywhere. I've been using it in Korea to basically spend for anything from Airport Express to my hotel stay. And it's something that we have just went live 2 months ago, and it's getting a lot of traction. So it's a Singapore-based product. So if anyone here is based in Singapore or wants to register for a wait this year, you can go to our website and make a request there. Yeah. Passing on.
Hi everyone. I'm Giang, founder of our network, and we're building the layer 1 chain for mass adoption and also building for the emerging cultures. So right now, at the moment, we are one of the top layer 1 chain in Vietnam. Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Thanh. I'm the founder of Coin98 wallet. A lot of people know us as one of the first contributors in Solana back in 2020. And then I think time flies, and we luckily have 6.5 million users right now across the world. And then with supporting 70 chains as well. I'm very excited to join in the session today with scaling the user base and growing in Asia as well.
Great, thank you very much, Tan. So to begin the panel, I'll ask the very generic question to all the panelists. What about Southeast Asia that you find the most exciting at this point of time? And if there's one country within Southeast Asia you think you should spend a lot of time in, where would that be?
Okay, so let me go first. I think what makes me interesting about Southeast Asia market is I think everyone's in Southeast Asia market being known, I think except Singapore. It's a country that being known for it's kind of emerging markets where everyone is looking for opportunities, everyone is willing to take risks, and I think the infrastructure for mobile phone and internet in Southeast Asia, I think it's pretty good, and then it's laid down a very good foundation for crypto where everyone's the populations in Southeast Asia is concentrated and is a young generation over there. Everyone's just looking for a new opportunity, willing to take risks, and then it's just a perfect community for crypto where it's a new technologies. A lot of people looking for opportunities. New technologies could be entering into crypto with their phone. So that would be the most interesting for Southeast Asia market. And then I'm probably biased, but I think I'm growing up in Vietnam, building Coin98 in Vietnam as well. So I'm a bit bullish on Vietnam with contributing a lot into the the growth of crypto in Southeast Asia. But I think I also have a lot of community members in Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines. This market is also very interesting as well. So again, I think for me, Southeast Asia is just an area that have a lot of young entrepreneurs and also people looking for opportunities, and that's wonderful opportunities for crypto.
So I guess I can go next. So I was born in Singapore and also basically spent most of my growing up days in Singapore. I think Singapore, when I say Southeast Asia, geographically Singapore is part of Southeast Asia, but it's kind of very different because in Singapore itself it's a lot more stable. It's a lot more, I would say that things are a lot more regulated, so you really can't do many things that even if you were to do eat chewing gum, you will get fined. it's kind of like stupid, but that's like how Singapore market is. But I would describe like Vietnam and also like Thailand or the rest of Southeast Asia as a place with like lots of opportunity, and they are also growing very fast. The first time that I went to Vietnam was actually like 12 years ago. As a student, I backpacked across the whole Southeast Asia in 3 months. So if you're actually planning for like a trip to Southeast Asia, you could actually do that. So I think something that I recall back then was that Vietnam was a very different place 12 years ago. And they grew a lot in the last 10 years. Right now, Vietnam is very busy. There's like lots of things going on. It's very well developed, and I think as a country, they're just growing very fast. So there's lots of opportunity there. In fact, I think many crypto people are also in Vietnam. Other than Coin98 and Aura, there's also like Kyber network is also there. So it's a very vibrant place to be.
Yeah, I think you're right that I also bullish in Vietnam because not because of I'm Vietnamese, but I think that because Southeast Asia countries they have something interesting that they adopt very fast with many things new. Right? So every young generation, like Thanh said, they can learn self-learning and everything. The skill is really good. And they want to adopt the new things. And in Vietnam also, because of Vietnam, the people, they're really good with mobile adoption, battery adoption as well. The developers developing skill. And something that interesting in Vietnam that they can learn the new language very fast. So I think that is in Vietnam. But some other countries we also have, like Indonesia, like Malaysia and Thailand, they are also good for crypto and Web3 as well.
Got it. So it sounds like Vietnam is the choice of the Southeast Asian market. I realize I asked a very biased question. I should have caveat that initially. So we hear about it being a mobile-friendly, mobile-first market. We have heard about a young population who is willing to take risk, who is willing to try out new technologies. So if there's one challenge that you think you have to deal with while working in the Southeast Asian market, and you have been facing as you're growing a company, growing your user base, what would be that challenge, and how do you manage to resolve it? So maybe this time around we start with Giang.
Yeah, for me?
Yeah.
All right, so I think one of the challenges when you have so many users, because I think Southeast Asia, you can grow the number of users very fast. Yeah, in Vietnam, in Indonesia, or Thailand. But to educate all of them to understand your application, to bring the good user experience, UI, and also bring something good for them to use for a long time, and keep them engaged with you for a long time, I think is challenge for some projects. So easily that you can onboard the users, but how to keep the user inside your project, inside your application, or inside your infrastructure. So the product builder, the builder need to think more about, because the user experience in Southeast Asia is something different. They want to try the new, always need to update new things every day by day. So I think maybe something for my side.
So what have you done to kind of capture the users on the platform a bit more? Do you give them more product features? Do you give them more gamification process? What have you done so far?
I think that, we give more feature, but we need also to play with each other. So in Vietnam, in Web3, we have a strong partnership, also like Coin98. But we also play with some Web2 partner, that's very traditional partner, to do some Go Mass. We try to integrate our Aura network inside some mass application. Like in Vietnam right now, we also integrate Aura with the top one Uber Line logistic application. So at the moment, they have 8 million users and around 100,000 drivers. So we try to do something like the right to earn for the users and also the driver, and integrate inside the application. So user have more room to use. Web2 users also have more room to understand what is Web3 and have a time to play with Web3.
Got it. Thank you very much. So Tan, I have a question for you. So you have obviously expanded outside of Vietnam as well. You have presence across the Southeast Asia country. What tips would you give to some of the audience here today when you're expanding outside of Vietnam and considering, say, Indonesia and Thailand? Where do you think is the easiest country to go in, and what have you done that make you so successful so far?
I think that every countries that have a so this used to be our challenge back then when we're trying to scale C98 outside of Vietnam. The biggest lesson learned to me is Southeast Asia is it sounds like a very special, regions where, a lot of countries in this area have different cultures, speak like different languages as well. So the biggest lesson learned for us back then is localization is really important. For every market that you get into, you have to like understand the culture, understand the customer behavior, how people, what kind of protocols they are using the most in that countries, and I think you better want to have some kind of local people in there in order to grow in the market. That was my biggest lesson learned over the last couple of years in when scaling in this market, and I think for example, talking about different culture, different countries, different user behavior. Taking DeFi as example, I think back then when DeFi summer kicked in, you want to see a lot of people in Thailand is very interested in low yield opportunities. So probably when yield farming trends coming up, a lot of people coming up from Thailand. That's also the reason why you see back then when Luna was still a thing, you go to Angkor, the top traffic is always come from Thailand, because these people, the people in these countries is very interested in low yield opportunity, low risk investment kind of thing. But in Vietnam, you want to see they showing up in kind of perpetual trading protocol, so they're willing to take more risk. And then if you go to Indonesia, it's more creators, NFT stuff, and then we went to Philippines, it's more gaming. So I would say the behavior in different countries is also very different. So it depends. Scaling in Southeast Asia doesn't mean that you need to go everywhere. You have to have a very deep understand about what product that you're offering, and then what kind of a user base that you're looking for. From there, you research, you do market research, and you're trying to figure out what would be the market that will have that kind of user behavior fit in for your protocols.
Got it. So when you consider user behavior and user preference, do you also customize the type of product you enter the market with? Because for Coin98, you have a suite of different products, right? The wallet and stuff like that. So how have you managed to navigate it?
Yeah, I think for the wallet side, I think our wallet is pretty basic stuff. But what we do customization is for every market, we're trying to partner with different types of partners. So for example, if you go really, if I want to scale into Thailand market, I'd rather want to partner with some kind of product and projects team that really offer the new opportunities to Thailand, and I just partner with them to go into the Thailand market. But if I want to scaling the user base of Coin Wallet in Philippines, I'd rather want to work with gaming companies, and then just enable a more use case in that area as well. And for Indonesia, more NFT stuff. So wallet is I think it's pretty basic DeFi module that you can pretty much add into every single use case. But then the way that we scale and the way that we're marketing Coin98 in different countries is also different.
Got it. Thank you very much. The suggestions on localization is extremely useful. So we talked about working with different partners to enter different markets. So my next question is for Edison, actually. So you're predominantly based in Singapore right now. Could you share maybe with the audience what type of partners you've been working with? And when you think about moving beyond Singapore, what kind of market entry strategies would make sense?
Okay, so in our case, because we are a payments company, we are a lot more operating like a fintech company, right? That we have to find the licenses in every country that we go. So to us, going to market is not just about working with a team with a presence there. I think awareness is great, but we also need to make sure that all these things are practical for us. Also, it makes business sense for us. So as a card issuer, we have to look into basically what's the debit card penetration rates in the country. So, and that's also where maybe some countries say Indonesia is not using debit cards that much. A lot of people prefer to use Gojek, which is the local payment gateway there. So it might not really make a lot of sense for me to operate in that market. But there are also some markets that have very high penetration rate, like Korea, for example. I think I would wish to bring my my product to Korea because there's so many like merchants that accept credit card here. So another thing that we are also looking at is that the ability to issue like debit cards are also dependent on region. Every card number that you see on your credit card, it belongs to like a certain country. So in our case, we can only issue for Singapore at the moment, but we are actively working on Hong Kong to basically expand our product. I know that's not part of like Southeast Asia, but just wanted to mention that in here as well, in case there's anyone from Hong Kong sitting here. So yeah, I think the reality is that maybe we are kind of like very different because we are a payments company. We have to work with like licensed player to be able to offer our products. So our go-to-market and expansion plans will differ somewhat with like wallets out there and also like layer one chains like these two guys over here.
Got it. So Edison, I heard that your growth from a user and transaction perspective has been quite significant on a week basis. Maybe you would like to share a bit with the audience in terms of what you think you have been doing correctly from that contributed to growth, and how do you see your growth happening more in the future?
Okay, so I think that the context here is that because David has known me for some time, we previously started off with a crypto payments acceptance gateway. So that allows merchants to accept like stable coins for their business. So we only pivoted to BaseApp very recently. I think we only got we applied with Visa all the way back in February, but we only got the approval from Visa in around June. So that's when we first managed to basically market our products. Because like when you apply with a Visa directly, you cannot market your products until you get approved. So since like June, when we got our first approval, we did our first marketing. We were quite impressed with that. Just within a few weeks, we got like 1,000+ like signups from all over the world. So that was very interesting for us because like to us when we started this, we did not manage to actually get all this like release so early on. But I think that like and since then when we were live around like 2 months, we grow on the weekly volume of like 35% every week. So it's pretty impressive in the early stages. We're looking to scale this up as we go. In fact, we just like triple our card holders in the last week. So that's because like we want to get everyone a card in 2049. So if you actually are based in Singapore and you are also attending 2049, you might be seeing many of the BaseApp cards like going around like the country. So in fact, I think what attributed to the growth was that we did a few things that are interesting. Number one is that when you use BaseApp, topping up your card is 0% fee. So this is instantly different from your crypto.com or any other debit cards that are out there. I know there's plenty of like crypto debit cards out there, but they would usually charge between 0.75% to 1% for top up. In BaseApp, it's 0%. So it's a very cheap way to actually off-ramp because off-ramping also costs around 1% in Korea. It costs 0.5% in Singapore. So when you offer 0% off-ramp, that's like something that users are happy with that significant like savings. And in that case, we still make revenue because as a card issuer, we make revenue on interchange fees. We take the revenue from the merchants. So it's a win-win situation because the merchants still can accept payment from you. And it's great for consumers because you pay lesser amount in fees. So this created a lot of like natural, naturally a lot of people with crypto who want to spend. A lot of people in DAOs, that they make salary in stable coins, they like to use our product. And I think we also see many of these like founders that they apply for our card and they put their company expense on the card so that they can spend for their subscriptions or AWS bill because it lowers the operating cost of like expenses. I think other things that we found is that people like to use the card to buy luxury items. So we also, on the ad hoc basis, increase like some of these like spending limits for people. If they want to buy something and they know that they are going to buy like a luxury watch, like Rolex, right? They can actually like get a temporary increase in credit limit. Yeah, I think just now also Tran was also talking about it that people like to buy like luxury items with like crypto. So this is like how we are thinking about it.
So I think the consumer behavior and preferences is important. Yeah. So Giang, you could say something?
For me, you talk about mass adoption and something, but for me, there are a few things. For us, we try to convert. One of our strategy is convert the Web2 users to Web3 users because so many things is Web3 users, they got a lot. And we also try to convert the giant in Web2 to Web3 as well. So right now we talk with some also we try to talk with some very famous IP in Japanese, for example, or like manga, like anime IP, to get attraction for the users. Also Web3, both Web2 and Web3. And also in Web2 convert, we try to plug inside application that I said that we try to play with some local giant. Local giant is very important because they understand the user, they got many users, they got really good user experience right now. So we play with the local giant. And we try to input our inside this, for example. So I think that one of the key for Go mass adoption is we can play with the local giant, we convert Web2 to Web3, also understand as much as possible some famous IPs, some interesting thing for Web2 and also for Web3. So based on that, so we can convert many Web2 users to Web3 and bring the new users for your application, for your project. Because sometimes when some people asking me that how to convert a user from another chain to our chain. So we don't care about that. We'd say that we can get a new user. So some users from another chain, they may come later or they may can try or experience our chain later, I think.
So it sounds like your experience from converting from a Web2 user to Web3 users has been quite effective for our network. I just try to understand, because this is like the holy grail for a lot of projects, right? The conversion of Web2 to Web3 users is quite difficult. So what do you think you have done correctly? Or is it because of the function of the markets they are targeting in Southeast Asia that people are generally more receptive?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question because convert Web2 to Web3 users, you need some strong relationship, you need credit, you need something like a strong partner as well. So for us, because we get support by one of the very strong partner, a big tech giant company, a giant company for ICT in Southeast Asia. And we have a really strong relationship with many big player and big player in the local market. So that is one of our strong point. We feel confident that when we talk with those, we can get a deal, we can talk with more users and we can talk with more players. So maybe that is something that differentiates from Aura to another chain, I think so.
Got it, thank you. And since we have Tran on the stage as well, I know that if anyone wants to enter the Vietnam market and Southeast Asian market, they will most likely have to work with you in some capacity. So how do you usually work with new projects, new Web3 projects trying to enter the Vietnamese market? How can they collaborate with you and what's the engagement from it?
I think come back to the previous point that I mentioned, enter to Southeast Asian market doesn't mean that you have to go everywhere. So for some of the market that, for example, if you're offering very low yield interest rates, kind of a product, it's very hard. Even I think it's better to have, it's better to have building a community of token holders in the countries that people really they believe in your visions, but they might or might not use the product. Then that would be a better fit than just trying to spend a lot of money and try to scale the users, user base of the product over there. But if there's some product that really fit into the customers' behaviors of Vietnamese people, then that would be something that we can help. So it's really based on what they really need, and sometimes sometimes you don't even need to enter to Vietnam market is much better because it's really bad when you're spending a lot of effort and times and money and resources into Vietnam market and then you get nothing because you realize that your product is not perfectly fit for the market. So I think for every partner that want to enter to Vietnam, I just want to sit down and talk and try to figure out what they really want in the market, and based on our experience with the local market, we're trying to give them a lot of thoughts that we think it's my work for them and it's my and something. If there's something that we think that is might not work, then we also disclose to them as well. So I want to make sure that they have a better understanding about local market before they start spending any resources into the market.
Got it. So out of curiosity, which of the projects that have worked with you to enter into Vietnam market, you think it's a good success that you want to share?
I think Solana is a very big success in Vietnam right now. I think if you went to Vietnam right now, I think Solana education adoption is way better than Ethereum. Yeah. You went to every university right now. You have UC Solana.
Is it a function of the applications that's available on Solana, or is it because of how you manage to get the interest of the...
So that's a combination of with a lot of things. So the federation understand how important it is to understand the like local culture and landscape, and then we have them, to find the best, like the best people that can like execute what they wanna, what we believe that is gonna help them as well. And then these guys is doing an amazing job based on our recommendations. And also I give huge amount of credit to Solana to really spend the resources when they already see the results and scaling the effort in Vietnam as well. So again, you go to Vietnam right now, you went to any universities, you see a lot of activities with Solana. And I think that's something that Aura is trying to do with a similar adoption as well. But I think accept Aura network for companies outside of Vietnam into Solana is really good use case with our help.
I'm a bit tempted to ask how is Solana compared to Aura network, but I will not ask this question on stage. So Giang, I have one question actually. You mentioned about working with corporates, right? Because the backing of the Aura network is also a corporate, right? Sizable ones. Yeah. What would that be the recommended approach to enter into the Vietnam market, you think? Or is it because, or you prefer some other developer communities angle or stuff like that? And what would be some of the challenges and perks of working with a corporate? Because from my experience, I think sometimes corporates don't quite get Web3, or they don't really understand the technology, but you seem to be doing it in a very successful way. So curious to understand a bit more about that as well.
I think maybe for corporate, sometimes they don't like crypto, but they like the blockchain. So they like the technology behind the crypto. For example, if you want to enter, I want to talk about, you enter Vietnam market and you want to get more developers, because you know that in Vietnam right now, you're one of the top, actually it's the top one for the mass adoption, also for the developer as well. Yeah, and I think that when you enter the market, the developers in Vietnam, they can understand and they're learning quite fast. So if you can understand the Vietnam market, you can talk with the developers. I think it's be good things. So maybe when some project, when some project when entering to Vietnam want to acquire more developers, they need to understand the culture, but they can also play with some big developer pool or some corporate or some enterprise. They have many developers, like APT, for example. In Vietnam, APT right now they have 100K developers. Yeah, a huge pool of developers. So with when you play with some corporates in Vietnam and they buy in for blockchain, they can support you as well. For learning, for training, educate the developers, and you can get more developers can support for your project like L1 chain, the Solana, for Aptos, for every kind of chains. Yeah.
Got it. And back to Edison, I was just wondering, let's say if there's a partner or a company here, a project here, they're trying to expand into Southeast Asia, and their first thought was Singapore. Would you tell them it's the right choice, or would you tell them it's a wrong choice?
I think that it really differs on what kind of objective you're trying to get, right? If you're trying to get number of users, Singapore is not going to help you with that number of users, because we only have 6 million people in Singapore. You have maybe a few times more in Vietnam. So if you're optimizing for number of people, it doesn't really make sense. But if you're finding a HQ, like a base, I think many companies actually incorporate in Singapore, and they have basically they use it as a HQ to do other things, because Singapore is just so friendly on the regulation side. You're not going to get any issues on the bank if they know what you're doing. Of course, you have to be very clear with the bank to tell them that you are working on crypto, but currently the regulations are pretty friendly towards crypto companies. If you're also looking at, but I think it really differs. I think this question is not easy because it really differs on what exactly you're trying to get out of Singapore. If you're trying to find developers in Singapore, it's going to be very difficult. You have to. I think that my company is very rare because all our engineers are in Singapore, but that's because me and my co-founder we're developers ourselves, so we know other engineers. But it's not the case in other countries that if you don't know anyone in Singapore, you're trying to hire in Singapore. it's very hard to find engineers. So most of the time, people will start HQ in Singapore, but they hire engineers in Vietnam, hire engineers in Thailand or Malaysia, because that's easy for you to get across to basically manage your developers. Yeah.
Got it. I think to add on to Edison point, Singapore probably will be a nice place for a regulatory clarity place. The framework is quite established. And maybe the second point will be for capital fundraising. That's probably where most of the VCs and investors are based in. I know that time's it out, so I just do a really quick summary. So when it comes to going to Southeast Asian markets, we need to take into the pros, which is mobile friendly and risk-taking kind of population, very eager to learn. And then each of the markets have different strategies. Maybe you are a creative project, you may choose Thailand first. If you are a high kind of variability when it comes to DEX trading, you may choose Vietnam first, then low yield Thailand. But regardless of the product, then there will be multiple ways, whether through local players like them or through corporates and developer community. So with that, I'll wrap up the session. I think we are running over ahead of time. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Hope you have an enjoyable rest of the day as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.